Welcome everyone to the Proven Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Church. I'm a music producer from Northeast Ohio. I began this weekly interview series to give you different perspectives from artists, producers, engineers, and other individuals in the music industry. In each episode, we touch on not only what has helped the person succeed, but we also touch on what has shaped them into the person that they are today. I hope you're able to gain some real proven knowledge from the show, and that it helps elevate you on your own journey to success as well. Let's get into it. Going on, everyone. Welcome to episode 260 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Today, I welcomed a Cincinnati artist named LordE. I actually discovered him through a post by Spiral Groove Records, a local record store in Cincinnati that I had actually sent my vinyl to, and I think the week of, I actually discovered that he was doing a performance there. I ended up clicking on his profile on Instagram, followed it to Apple Music, and checked out one of his EPs, and it just resonated with me, the production style, his lyrical ability, and I just started checking out all the releases that he's put out over the last few months. I feel like he's put out probably 7 or 8 singles, along with an album called Elixir of Life, which is an amazing project, amazing body of work. So I actually got in touch with him, reached out. We made the episode happen this week to get him on here to share more of his story. And it was very interesting. He talked about, kind of having a love for fashion, how that almost kind of burned him out a little bit, just kind of dealing with that, but how he transitioned to having a love for music and being able to take being an artist seriously over the past couple years. He talked about, just his process of hearing different beats and trying to churn out as much music as possible, even if he's not releasing it in the moment. It sounds like he has a lot more in the pipeline coming for the second half of 2025 and beyond. So I'm very excited to see what he does. And I would recommend everyone go check out his work, especially Elixir of Life, because like I said, it's a really solid body of work. And thank you to LordE for joining me this week. I really appreciate him for taking the time out. So without further ado, let's get into this one. Again, I appreciate you for wanting to be here. And we usually kind of have the guest give some background, like just to get started. For those that might not know you and what you do, just give people like kind of a synopsis of, how you got to this point and really how you got into music in general.
To take it back for real, I've been making music since high school, honestly, and it started off as, just something to do. I did the typical high school things. I played video games, but the studio was definitely like part of our routine as well. I would say when I graduated, I steered away from the music a little bit. Mm-hmm. I started doing fashion shit, and one night I started recording with one of my guys. He actually produced music, and it started off as us just playing around, but then I started taking it serious, and then I got this thought that actually, create an artist persona, I guess, and really take music serious. But I've always been writing. Like, I went to school for mass communications and journalism. So, writing has always been like a part of my life. And I guess now I just use it as, a way to express myself. And I do that by putting it behind beats.
Yeah. So what year do you think it was where, because you said it was kind of around, when you were getting out of school as well. So was there like a pivotal moment or a certain year where you decided you were going to start taking it seriously and being more consistently?
Yeah, I say 2023.
Yeah.
2023. I had unreleased music. I haven't released shit till this year. So I've been sitting on music for a while. I still got a lot of unreleased music.
Yeah. I was going to say, because like I said, I saw that EP come out, I think in March or something like that, maybe February. Yeah. And then you've been on a run, man, for the last few months with a lot of stuff. So yeah. I've been trying to just get it out there, and I feel like if you rap, you shouldn't really hold it in. So I'm starting to just release out the music I got, man. For sure, man. And I definitely want to touch on the full album Elixir of Life, because that one really, really was a great body of work, man. And that's the one I think I've been replaying the most. And just kind of give me like a snapshot of what went into that project specifically, creatively, writing wise. Were you hearing beats already that you knew you kind of wanted to make into a full project, or were you just kind of getting one song at a time and saying like, once they're all done, I'm going to kind of put this into something more full and more complex and complete?
Yeah, I would say it was more so us just going to the studio, fucking around. Like, I'll probably do 2 or 3 songs a session. I didn't really think I would compose the album. I was really planning on just dropping another EP. I was going to drop like 3 EPs for the year and be done. But I was like, you know what? I will just make more songs. And when I feel like it's complete, it's complete. And I just let my friends listen to it too. Yeah, they kind of dictated my decision as well. But like I said, I write all the time. Like, I'm always writing. But yeah, when I hear a beat too, it just provoked me to write even more. But I'm always writing.
Yeah, for sure. And just from hearing that project and hearing some of the other releases as well, I feel like, and this could just be me, as a listener, kind of seeing what you gravitate toward. I feel like you gravitate toward a lot of drumless stuff that doesn't always have drums in it. It's mostly just the sample chopped up or kind of going a certain way. So like, is that something that you're kind of aiming to keep doing moving forward, or is that just kind of the sound you're in now and the sound you gravitate towards at this moment? Do you see that evolving, or do you see that kind of just, staying the same, at least for now?
Definitely see it evolving. I'm actually like struggling now to like kind of make a not so much a different sound, because I am trying to stick to my niche. I feel like the drum and beats, I'm more cohesive on those beats. But I know people want to hear drum, they want to hear hi-hat. That's just the time we live in now. So I definitely want to evolve as an artist, push a different sound as well, but still stay authentic and stay true to what I've been doing.
Yeah. Because, man, I honestly feel like, even just as someone like yourself, because I would consider you a lyrical guy. Like, I can tell you care about the lyricism, you care about the message in there. I think it could go any type of way, too. Any different type of style. You could figure out how to fit in there. For sure. So it's going to be interesting to see how it evolves. But I think that leads me into kind of asking about influences as well, and like people you're listening to, could be now or could be even growing up. Like, who do you listen to primarily as a fan of music, and who do you kind of study as a lyricist?
So I listen to a lot of different music. What influenced my sound, like, I would say oldies, definitely. I listen to a lot of SOS Band. I don't know if you ever heard of them. The Isley Brothers. Definitely been listening to a lot of Anita Baker lately. Teddy Pendergrass. And that's just R&B stuff. But as far as like rap, lyricism, what influenced the content of my music, probably like Rock Marciano. I really like Mike, Earl Sweatshirt. I'll give you one more. It's probably like I think he's lyrical, but he make a lot of like upbeat type music. Of DC2 Trio. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but yeah, them probably my main artist that I listen to right now.
I've never heard of him. I've never heard of him, but I have heard of Mike, and I've heard a lot of good things about his recent project that he put out. I've been meaning to check that out for sure.
Mike is he's nice, man. And the beat selection is crazy.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. And speaking of the production side, you just mentioned you listen to a lot of soulful artists, from the 70s, from the 60s. So do you ever hear like an old record like that and say, like, go to your producer and say, hey, could we flip this in some type of way and like maybe chop this up and make it into something that you could rap over? Have you ever done that before or considered doing that?
Nah, not yet. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still in the phase where I just get beats wherever I can get them from, and I'm mostly rapping over, YouTube. I'm still in that phase.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to get to that phase. My friend, he actually sent me like 4 beats over. I rapped over 2. I'm still trying to see what I want to do with the other 2, but eventually I want to get to that point. I also want to make beats myself.
Yeah,
too.
for sure.
I've been working on that. So,
yeah, awesome. Well, I can definitely hear it in the music. There's a lot of soul in there, for sure. And as far as like producers go, do you have any favorite producers that are kind of at the top? Maybe not people you worked with, but let's just say people that you listen to stuff that they produced a lot before.
Yeah, I would say I like Tony Seltzer. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He been producing a lot of good tracks. That's probably it for right now. Yeah. I don't really pay attention to producers that much. Yeah. Unless you like close in, but I don't really pay attention to producers.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know you mentioned you like Rock Marciano, so I was picturing like Derringer, Alchemist, people like that. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely the Alchemist. Definitely. I use a lot of his type beats. I don't know why I ain't think of him. Alchemist a legend, for sure.
Yeah.
MF Doom, too.
Oh, yeah.
I guess, he's a producer, rapper.
Yeah.
But, I really don't, I don't know. I'm more of a lyric enthusiast, so I don't really pay attention to producers that much, which I should, though, because I want to get into making my own.
Hey there, hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick minute out to let you know about a couple different ways that you can support the podcast. One of the ways is by clicking that support the podcast button within your streaming platform. That is if you want to be a monthly supporter of the show. You can contribute either 99 cents, $5, or $10 a month. So that's the first way, and that's the more traditional way that we've had now for the last couple years. The other method that we actually just recently introduced is from our good friends over at Ko-fi. Ko-fi is a virtual tip jar. We have set our limit to a minimum of $10, but you can go make one-time, one-off donations. So if you visit ko-fi.com/the Proven Knowledge Podcast, you'll be able to donate. And all these different forms of donation go towards getting new guests every single week, getting potential sponsors on board to do giveaways, and overall just making the show better for you guys. So if you want to do that Ko-fi link, it's ko-fi.com/the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Otherwise, again, look for that support the podcast button in your streaming platform if you'd like to be a monthly supporter. And I just want to say thank you guys for your contributions. And without further ado, let's get back into the episode. I was going to say another producer that I've listened to a lot, his name is Apollo Brown, and he's done a lot of the drumless stuff as well, like with, you ever heard of Planet Asia?
Nah, I'm going to have to check him out.
Yeah, I might have to send you, because they did 2 albums together, and it's a lot of the drumless stuff. So that's really what your stuff reminded me of initially, was like the Planet Asia, Apollo Brown albums, because it's mostly drumless beats, and it's mostly just the samples being flipped. But I love that take on hip-hop, and obviously, like you said, I feel like some people have not really an issue with it, but they might not gravitate towards it as much. But I feel like there's definitely a lane for that, and there's definitely, that sound is, I think, underappreciated, because to me it allows the artist to really just get their thoughts off the right way. They're not having to be locked into the pocket. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I feel like it honestly kind of gets slept on a little bit, and maybe just hated a little bit too much. But I'll have to send you those for sure, because I feel like you would definitely resonate with those.
Definitely send me those over. I love, being hip with new artists.
Yeah.
And, just expanding my sound palettes, man. So yeah, definitely send that over.
For sure, man. I got you. And do you have any collaborators, anybody you've been working with recently that you want to give a shout out to today? It could be, engineers. It could be fellow artists. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out my boy Dots, man. That's he part of the campaign. Um, that's actually the only features I have. Like he the only person I feature with. And shout out, my producer, engineer, Trey Clue. Yeah, them the only people I want to shout out. The only people I be working with.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out my boy High Rank Tay too. He part of the campaign. So I don't know if you ever checked out his music, but he local as well.
Nice.
So he got a different type sound.
Awesome.
But he definitely makes some good music for sure.
Well, send him my way. I'll definitely give him a listen. So
yeah,
see what he's all about. So yeah, man, that's really cool. And what do you think you're going to be planning for pretty much the rest of the year? Because we're about halfway through the year at this point. What is the goal musically for the last 6 months or the second half?
The goal really is to, create more content around the music. I always got a lot of visuals out, so I really want to focus on that. Cause I'm terrible at that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just want to complete this next album I got coming out, 33rd Degree Bird. When that come out, make sure y'all check that out. But I'm really focused on really just pushing the visuals out.
Yeah,
music already got out.
Nice, man. And is doing live performing something you're going to aim to do in the future? Because I know we just talked about the Spiral Groove show. Is that something you kind of want to get more into in the coming years?
Yeah, so it kind of put out a little bit. But as I grow, and as my fan base grow, of course, I definitely want to do live performances. But I've been doing, trying to do more open mics in the city. I'm from Cincinnati. And they've been having a lot of opportunities out here, so I've been trying to take advantage of that. But, I definitely want to perform.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of opportunities, too, that I'm sure you're going to be able to have moving forward, especially the more music you have out there, too, and being able to perform those songs is going to be a really cool opportunity. So that's exciting, man, for sure. And I guess even just talking about Cincinnati as a city, because I don't know if I've interviewed a lot of people from that area. I feel like I've interviewed people here in Ohio from Columbus, from Cleveland, sometimes Toledo as well. So kind of give me a snapshot of what it looks like as a creative in that city, because I know it seems like for you, you're mostly focused on doing your own thing. You're kind of just in your lane, doing your thing, mind your own business. But how do you view kind of the rest of the creative scene in the area? And has that ever been something you put thought to of, are you going to stay in Cincinnati or are you going to pursue this elsewhere in the future?
I definitely want to pursue elsewhere in the future. But I definitely want to create more opportunities for artists like myself in the city when I do have the chance to do that. And, like I said, I did fashion, so I'm really in tune with the creative side in the city. I do photo shoots, different brands. I got a lot of friends that's into the fashion scene. So I will say Cincinnati is on the rise creatively. I'm sure you know about the Bengals and the Reds, of course. So it's a lot of good stuff happening in the city. And it's becoming more apparent to the rest of the world. So I definitely want to, create my little wave in the city as well.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to stay in the city for a while, but move it later on.
Yeah. Definitely something to shoot for in the future. I'm sure of it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
And as far as the fashion goes, like I know there's always a lot of opportunities to incorporate fashion and music together because they kind of play off of one another.
Right.
So is that something you want to do? Like maybe have a clothing brand and incorporate it with your music moving forward? Is there goals there to do that?
Of course. Like I said, I know a lot of people that have their own brand, so I don't want to really get too much into the design aspect. I want to leave that to somebody. But as far as like creative direction, and I guess just conceptualizing how the merch is going to come together. That's what I want to do. That's the role I want to take.
Mm.
But as far as like, getting deeper into the fashion, I really don't have a passion for it no more.
Yeah.
I got burnt out real quick with the trends and shit.
Mm.
So, I'm going to just, indulge from a distance.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like keeping it simple, like with just t-shirts, hoodies, things like that, that can almost be more beneficial, because I almost feel like if you're trying to do too much, it can kind of go left. You know what I mean?
For sure, yeah. Especially when we start outsourcing and doing shit like that. I mean, I didn't go through the whole nine, bro. Like, I done got scammed before with the fashion.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but I feel like if you can find somebody who can produce your work near you, then you'll be good.
Yeah. I feel like anything to kind of keep the cost at a reasonable rate is probably the first thing you want to look at. Like quality and cost, if you can get the two to kind of meet together, you'll be on the right path, I think. So yeah, but it sounds like a struggle for sure. So I give props to anybody that can do that and do it consistently.
You're right, because you got to manage the business side and you got to manage the creative side. You got to be producing all the time. Like, even if you're not actually producing it to the public, you need something on hand all the time to produce it. I mean, if you don't have a passion for it, like I actually have a passion for music. Like, it's something I can wake up and do effortlessly. Fashion, I can't really say the same. Like, I would have to push myself to make the guys and shit. But, yeah.
Well, I think that brings up a good question too, because if you have that experience in the fashion world, I think some of that carries over to having a career in music. So what do you think are some of the lessons you learned from going through those hardships there that you've kind of carried over to music, and you feel like you can do a lot better now with where you're at in this passion?
Number one lesson I learned is to follow your heart. So if your heart is not in it, like I said, if you don't feel like you're forcing everything, and you definitely don't want it to feel that way, you want it to almost feel like play. But that was the lesson that I learned, because consistency is key in whatever you do. But if you don't feel like doing it, then I don't think you should do it.
Yeah.
Another one I learned is, you definitely need people around. You can't do everything by yourself. So I got a lot of people around me right now that support me, and we all actually support the vision itself. So it ain't just me. Like, I got a few other artists that I'm working with as well. And we working on creating like a full production company. We want to own the rights to our music. We want to be able to produce our music, the visuals, and also, like I said, help other creators locally, maximize their potential. So that's something we going in the future.
Yeah, and it's great to have those type of people that understand the vision as well. You know what I mean? Have that shared energy. That's the biggest thing, and people you can trust too. I think is a big thing. Trust.
That's what I'm saying. Trust is key. There's a lot of stakes, and you got to weed them out quick.
Yeah.
For sure.
Which is hard to do, man. It can be hard sometimes.
It is.
For sure. Well, we're down to the last few questions here, and these are ones I ask on every episode. These are more life-related ones. The first one is, if you could go back 10 years ago and give yourself any piece of advice at all, or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
Well, 10 years ago, I would be 14. I'm going to be 24, bro. I would be 14, but the advice I would give myself at 14 would be to focus on, my passion. And not allow my peers or my parents dictate, what I want to do in life, or dictate my trajectory. That's probably the main thing I would tell myself at 14. And also not be too hard on myself.
Yeah, for sure. And if we flip that then and we say 10 years from now, where do you think you envision yourself musically and in life?
I envision myself, with a family, definitely still producing music at a high level. Probably got like 10 albums out or more. And yeah, just, being able to live above my means. Because right now, I'm living, how you live. And you're in the startup phase. But, just to be able to take care of my family and live a life stress-free. And be able to, create my art without the worry of, surviving. But I just need all my basic necessities.
Yeah.
That's how I envision my life 10 years from now, for sure.
It's definitely a great goal to have. Absolutely. And I feel like 10 albums, you might have even double that, man, if you keep up this run you got going. So
Right. That's another thing too. Like artistically, I definitely want to just be better.
Yeah.
I definitely want to be better at what I do.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
Just keep mashing. Just stay persistent, like whatever it is you're doing, because, and I know that might sound cliche, but I really, really had like a realization a few weeks ago, which is like I had like a breakthrough moment, like when I made a song. It was after I made a song, and it was just like, man, like this shit is actually meant for me. Like I'm meant to do this, and you have to really believe that though. Like you can't just say it. Like you have to actually act upon it. That probably would be my words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Just act upon what you believe in and actually move like you are already doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
You're already in the position you want to be in. So.
Yeah. I forget what the saying is, but I feel like it's the dreams without action are just dreams. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So they can't become reality unless you're acting on them. So
yeah. For sure.
100% agree, man. Well, I gotta say again, man, that's thank you so much for dropping by today, and that's all I have for you. But again, thanks so much, and keep it up, man. Keep up the hard work. Keep up what you're doing, and I'm gonna keep listening, man. Because like I said, you got a new fan right here for sure. So I'm excited to see what you do moving forward.
Hey, I'm a fan of your show as well, man. I appreciate you for having me. I definitely like what you're doing. Allowing artists like myself that don't really have the platforms, share not only my body of work, but my thoughts as well. Like my thoughts in pure form. So I appreciate that.
Thanks everyone for listening today. That was episode 260. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit that support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds. And feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks everyone.